Hey there, I'm Chief Meteorologist Stefanie Lauber, and this week's Science Snippet, we're going to talk about drought and try to find a silver lining in this entirely dry situation across the coastal band. So the site behind me, hard to come by these days. We need some rain in the forecast, and because we haven't seen a whole lot of it, we have been keeping a careful eye on the drought monitor. Every Thursday we get an update, and it's not always the best update. So last week, January 29th, we saw some expanding areas of red here on the map. That marks extreme drought, and while we've been dealing with a pretty consistent level of drought, hasn't changed much locally in the coastal bend nor in our watershed, we've watched this kind of expand out more towards central parts of Texas. And so that may not be in our watershed, but we're still concerned with what happens here, because here are the watersheds for the sources we get from the Mary Roads pipeline. So that is important to us, even if it's not in the Nueces River watershed. But looking at today's update going into February 5th, here we go. Have not seen much improvement. Now things could be worse. We could be seeing maroon on this map, exceptional drought. That would not be ideal. However, we could really use some rain to help take some color off this map. Ideally, this map would be blank with no color at all, and that would mean we were not in drought conditions, but it's been a while since we've had a blank map. Now, it's also been a while since I've had arrows pointing up on our lake level chart. We continue to see decreases across our reservoirs, down at Lake Corpus Christi, down at Choke Canyon Reservoir, the combined capacity now sitting at 9.4%, where a month ago we were at 10.1%. And even Lake Texana, which tends to be a bit more resilient because being up the coast, you tend to see a little more rainfall with a better fetch off of the Gulf. Well, no, we're still seeing a drop in that capacity too, down to 59.5%, where a month ago we were at 63.3%. So when are we getting to the silver lining here? Well, statistically, February is one of the drier months of the year, at least for Corpus Christi. It may not be the case for other Texas cities, but we haven't seen much in 2026 in general, nor this dry month of February. We haven't seen any rain at CCIA this month. We're only a couple days in, but we're already behind by nearly 1/4 of an inch. Now for 2026, we've only recorded 2 days where rain fell in a measurable way at CCIA, totaling to 0.16 inches of rain. So for the year, for 2026, on February 5th, we are nearly 1.5 inches behind on our rainfall. And it's not a big ask. Over the year, we only pick up about 31 3/4 of an inch of rain. So we can only go up from here. And thankfully, heading into March, we tend to expect a bit more. Spring tends to be more generous, with the wettest month in Corpus Christi at about September, 5.42 inches of rain, not too bad. But coming up from February to March, we should see a decent increase, about 1 inch more expected during that month time frame. And we still have plenty of time here in February. I'll show you what the tendency will be for some rainfall for us ahead. But let's take a look at those tendencies as it stands. Over the next 6 to 10 days, the outlook during that time frame, taking us to about Valentine's Day, is wetter for a good chunk of the lower 48, but for the southern portions of the coastal bend and the RGV, we're looking at a small likelihood of seeing drier than normal conditions. So that's not the worst news. If we were to be about normal, that would lend us a little bit of rainfall, and it's something we can appreciate. Looking at a little bit of a larger window here, the next 8 to 14 days, so that pushes us a little closer to the end of the month. That's where things are looking to be on the drier side of that likelihood for us here for a good chunk of South Texas. So not exactly ideal. If we look on a farther scale, about a month or so, that looks to be about pretty typical for us. The gray here meaning normal rainfall conditions, probable. So we'll hope that as we get closer to March, things start to look a little wetter for us. But what about on a larger scale? You may have heard that the Climate Prediction Center thinks we could be moving toward an El Nino by the end of the year. So we kick things off with a La Nina, and this gray area here is that neutral phase of the El Nino Southern Oscillation. It's a big climate pattern. We like to call those teleconnections. Sounds like a cool name, but as we head into the spring and summer time frame, we're thinking that we're going to start dropping off the La Nina phase, heading into a neutral phase as we go through February, March, April, May, April, May, June, and then heading into the summer, you see the red bars here, that marks the El Nino forecast. So it's likely that we will be moving into an El Nino climate pattern as we move into June, July, August, September, August, September, October. An El Nino pattern during that time frame could be very favorable for us depending on the strength, because as we move into a neutral pattern, what I like to call La Nada, and so that could be a drier pattern for us here across South Texas, because the subtropical jet stream, think of it as a highway that brings weather systems and rainy weather systems with it, would kind of miss us and head more toward parts of the southeast and the central south U.S. Once we move into an El Nino pattern, that's where things kind of trend more in our favor. The subtropical jet stream is right for us, bringing us those juicy rainstorms that we so desperately need here across South Texas. It also tends to bring cooler than normal conditions. So if we were a little cooler in the summer, I don't think anybody would miss the triple-digit heat here across the Lone Star, so that could benefit us. But these are just patterns and indications. It's not a guarantee. There's also something else to consider in all of this, is how strong would that El Nino be? Would it be a very strong one? Because when we're in a weak El Nino pattern, previous patterns like that have shown below average rainfall in our little slice of heaven here in the coastal bend. So that exactly isn't something we'd want. However, a stronger El Nino in past times has been the kind of pattern that tends to bring us at least normal rainfall, if not a little extra. And even if we just saw normal rainfall, that would put us in a better position than what we saw last year and in previous years. Last year, one of the top 20 driest for Corpus Christi and a good chunk of South Texas. So it's something I'm looking for in the forecast. However, El Nino isn't a very good predictor of whether we will see wet years or dry years. There is some correlation. Like I said, stronger El Ninos tend to be better for us, but normal to above is still a very uncertain kind of pattern. So I was talking to the meteorologist in charge at our local National Weather Service office here in Corpus Christi, John Metz. He gives us a little bit of a glimmer of hope with a different kind of pattern. Take a listen.
Reoccurrence intervals between 5 and 10 years. So that generally tells us that we should see, these big rain events out over the watershed about every 5 to 10 years. We've gone almost 19 years. So it's been a long period of time, and so it kind of hints that we shouldn't have to wait too much longer. So we'll see.
It gives us a little glimmer of hope, if nothing else.
There is a little bit of hope because of that, yeah.
So if nothing else, a couple of climate indications signaling that we could see a weather pattern as we head into a wetter time of the year could give us a little hope that Mother Nature may bring some rain to South Texas and to our watershed. And one more thing to point out, what he said there was, we tend to look at the rainfall conditions within the watershed, and a good marker for that, he says, is keeping an eye on Cotulla. That's why you'll see that on our weather maps. We like to keep an eye on what's happening out there to get an idea of what's happening within our watershed. For this week's Science Snippet, I'm Chief Meteorologist Stefanie Lauber.